The email arrived at 2:13 a.m. Subject line, salary adjustment, effective immediately. No greeting, no explanation. A 55% cut, effective tomorrow. Below it, a single sentence from the board chair. Given recent restructuring, you will now report to the new executive assistant team. Assistant. My fingers hovered over the screen, motionless. The hotel room was silent except for the hum of the minibar. Outside, New York never slept. Inside, something inside me did. They had signed the $1.25 billion merger today. The deal I built. The empire I carved from numbers and late nights. I exhaled once. Slow, cold. Clause 47B flashed in my mind like a blade. The failsafe I'd hidden 3 years ago in the acquisition paperwork. A clause they'd skimmed past, buried inside 317 pages of legal anesthesia. I smiled. The silence inside me wasn't defeat, it was the sound of gears turning. It wasn't just the money, it never is. It was the dinner last week, the half glances between board members when I spoke, the way Charles, my so-called mentor, patted my shoulder and said, "Let's keep you focused on operations. Leave the big moves to us." Us. I had stayed late every night, chasing numbers that didn't belong to me anymore. I'd watched them sharpen their knives in conference rooms scented with overpriced bourbon. They wanted my work, not me. My vision, not my presence. The salary cut wasn't a mistake. It was a message. A public execution without blood. They believed humiliation would silence me, that I would swallow their contempt because the contract was signed and my leverage was gone. They forgot who wrote the contract. I moved through the next day like a ghost, smiling at interns, shaking hands in the lobby, taking my new seat, lower floor, smaller desk, without a flicker of resistance. Inside, my mind mapped every step toward the switch. Clause 47B. A technical safeguard disguised as a compliance appendix. If executive compensation was altered by more than 50% within 30 days of a signed deal, all digital disbursements freeze pending audit. It wasn't illegal. It was careful. It was mine. I watched them celebrate. The champagne toasts, the laughter that scraped against my ribs. They thought I was finished. I spent the evening reviewing the activation protocol. 2 passwords, 1 encrypted key, a simple confirmation, proceed with audit hold. The screen waited for my answer like an accomplice. I didn't press it, not yet. I waited. I wanted them to feel untouchable first. I wanted them to believe the trap was only a desk demotion. Friday morning, the quarterly review. The boardroom glittered with glass and polished lies. Charles opened with a grin. "Let's welcome our new assistant. You've been resilient." Laughter, thin and sharp. I nodded once. Of course. My phone vibrated under the table. A notification from the transfer desk. Funds from the 1.25B acquisition clearing now. Perfect. I opened the hidden terminal window on my tablet. 2 passwords, encrypted key, proceed with audit hold. My thumb hovered. The room blurred. Every betrayal, every calculated slight compressed into a single heartbeat. I pressed yes. Nothing happened. Not to them. Not yet. But I knew. Somewhere inside the system, the deal had just died. It began with a flicker on the presentation screen. Numbers stalled. Graphs refused to load. The CFO frowned. Server issue? Then the notifications cascaded in. Transfer failed. Funds withheld. Audit initiated. $1.25 billion. Frozen. Charles turned to me, his grin dissolving. What's happening? I met his eyes. Calm. Detached. Clause 47B, I said softly. You should read the contracts you sign. His face drained of color. You, I stood, sliding my badge across the table. No need for titles anymore. Assistant? Architect? Doesn't matter. Their voices tangled behind me. Panic, demands, the sudden weight of consequence. I didn't look back. The elevator ride down was silent except for the soft thrum of descending floors. Each number glowed, a countdown to freedom. By the time the doors opened to the street, my pulse was steady. Not triumph, not anger, just clarity. They wanted me small. They got nothing instead. The deal would choke in legal purgatory for months. Investors would scatter. Reputations would rot in quiet headlines. I stepped into the late autumn air. The city smelled of wet concrete and burning ambition. For the first time in years, I felt weightless. Clause 47B wasn't revenge. It was a reminder. I write the numbers. I decide their worth. And when they forget, I erase them.